I'm April Nixon, and this is my story. I grew up in a religious home with a religious family, so Jesus was always a part of my life. I remember going to church and it always being a service of you're a sinner, this and that, and never really the preaching of God's love. And so I grew up really thinking that I had to be perfect in order to be a Christian. And of course, everybody knows that's impossible, but I really strove for that. And I waited to get married until I was 28 years old, thinking I was making the right decisions. And I ended up getting divorced, which was a really huge blow to me and my faith, because it didn't follow the guidelines of the perfect Christian. So at that point was the first time in my life I was, 34 years old, that I completely lost my faith. I didn't believe in God anymore. I totally ran, and I ran fast, and I just didn't look back. So for a period of probably 2 years, for the first time in my life, I just didn't believe in God. I didn't talk to God. I proceeded to search for God's love in other people, like friendships and, just work and other avenues, I should say, not necessarily just people. So there was a period of time where I would meet a new person and she would be talking to me about religion and God and this and that. And it was just like she was focused on me, finding me to talk to me about this. And so, I was like, I used to be a Sunday school teacher. I grew up religious, but I don't believe in God anymore. And so then the next month I would meet somebody and they would come to me and seek me out and talk to me about God. And so the third month that this happened, I was at my cousin's wedding and I was talking to my cousin Patrick, and I said, I see you go to this new church residence, and tell me what that's about. And so I was like, listen, make sure I come to church to visit you. And I was like, I'm going to sign up for this. I'm going to come at least once. Don't let me out of this. Text me, call me. He's like, okay. Well, I didn't expect him to do that. So the following Wednesday, he texted me, hey, would you like to come to church? And I was like, I'm going to be out of town this weekend. I don't think I'll make it this weekend. I ended up coming back into town really early Sunday morning, and I thought, you know what, April, just go. I really enjoyed the service, regardless of the total difference from the childhood church, which I think is exactly what I needed. So I ended up coming back every Sunday. At this point in time, it was January 3rd, I think, 2015. I remember the day specifically. I had started bringing my daughter because I wanted to check it out before I brought her. And we were sitting in the front row because she wasn't comfortable enough to go to Res Kids yet, but she loved to be in the front row for the music. And after the service, it was such an impactful service. I sometimes go back and listen to the same one over again. But this song came on, and I hit my knees on the ground January 3rd, 2015. I was standing in the front row and I just dropped to my knees, turned around, and just cried in my chair, which is, unlike me, I don't like to show a ton of emotion, but I was just overwhelmed. It wasn't the first God moment certainly I've ever had in my entire life, but it was one that I will always remember because it was such a moment after I'd completely lost my faith. God really just brought me to the right place with the right people. I saw the people here and the leaders here, how they just were so transparent about their life and how nobody's perfect, and yet still loving everybody and God, and how God still loves you through it. And it's still a struggle for me to try to be perfect, to feel like I deserve to be a Christian, but I'm learning, and it's okay to learn. I've grown more in the 2 years here in my faith with God than I have in my whole entire life. God just led me through a series of events and people here. The biggest difference Jesus has made in my life is peace and knowing that you are good enough in whatever manner or state that you come to him in. He's made such a difference in my relationships learning how to cultivate the right relationships with the right people. And, I don't really feel like there's an aspect of my life that he hasn't made a difference in. But I would say that if I had to narrow it down to 3 things, I would say probably peace, grace, and love.